people, and welcome to another edition of the Pilot Review Show. I am Captain Blade, J52, and I am joined by my merry band of misfit, crazy cohorts. We have with us a teacher of the Kirby variety.
Hello.
Who is
I'm up on my perch.
who is sitting on what looks to be a not-so-comfortable perch there on her kitty cat. Then we also have our resident RP hologram, also with his winter gun out, Artie.
Hello.
And we also have a wild boss man that has decided to join us for a little bit this evening.
Hey, at least in voice, but not in game. I'm working on downloading the game on my Mac right now, so I can actually join in game.
Ew, Mac. No, but
Well, it's in Windows partition. I play on a Mac.
Ew.
Windows partition. With a Windows partition.
Oh, I had to give you just a little bit of grief because reasons.
All right, boys.
Well, it's because my desktop is currently occupied, and I'm not about to end what I got going on with it.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. Let's just say, folks, we've had to deal with a technical issue, which is a little bit of the reason why we're late, and he's attempting to resolve that. But, anyways, we've got some stuff to get through this evening for you folks out there. And we actually have the winter-themed snow recipes. That would be you, Artie.
Right, sorry. Yes. As of recently, a bunch of the guys at Cryptic decided to go, you know what we need this year? We need some themed food. Like actual food for us to have. So we can thank content designer Tiff Chu about with all this stuff. We got some like low-fat eggnog, which is some simple, stuff that you need, like egg, drop of vanilla, hard milk, which is just normal skimmed milk from a cow. Some nutmeg, some orange zest if you want some. Or, you could also add some rum, brandy, bourbon, scotch, whatever you like, whatever suits your fancy, because, it's eggnog. All these give you, like, the little directions of what you're supposed to do, but just to give you the simple synopsis, we also got some next year's fruitcake, as, it's fruitcake. It gets all sorts of, weird with the food, you know what I mean? It's got all sorts of things like, cranberries, apricots, pineapple, dates, cherries, ginger candy, which you can add if you feel like it, as well as more alcohol, like rum, brandy. You can even put apple juice, cranberry juice, whatnot. The next food we got here, glazed tard, which I actually am going to try this myself. What you basically need for this is 2 racks of tard, which would be 6 to 8 ribs for each stack, olive oil, honey, mint leaves, white wine vinegar or sherry vinegar, salt, and if you feel a little more zesty, you can add some Dijon mustard and black pepper, which I'm going to go all out. It sounds good so far. It's just, can you imagine that? Just a full stack of tard right there in front of you? That just sounds amazing so far. It's like every RPer's dream, just to eat what you see in game sort of thing. And the last bit for this is Frenching a rack of tard, which is just giving you what you should do for the previous thing above, which is actually pretty good.
That just does not sound right.
Frenching a rack of tard.
Does she really need to say it?
I mean, yeah. Anyway, okay, continue.
I think his mic is a bit screwy.
Okay. Frenching actually refers to a type of cooking technique, but since Artie's mic has gone on Fritz, we'll step in. So for Frenching, it basically... There?
I think I heard him.
Hello?
There we go.
There he is.
Okay, sorry about that.
We broke our hologram.
We needed to
Help, I
reboot the
need a-
hologram.
His vocal
Yeah.
subroutines were.
Okay.
His vocal subroutines
Yeah,
were,
basically, Frenching is.
momentarily.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that's some of the simple stuff. Frenching is just, getting a lot of the. Well, I'm not gonna, actually spoil it because I'm actually gonna treat this like an RP blog. I'll let you guys read it. Let you guys figure out what you like about it. Because personally, it just puts some stuff in my own cookbook because I know how to make things like fried tribbles with a sautéed sauce of targ blood. It's actually some pretty cool stuff. It's just basically meatballs with grape jelly barbecue. Actually, not that bad. You also got there's all sorts of different like Star Trek foods out there, and actually having this put together and be simple and straight to the point of how to make it and all the ingredients that you need. This is like the RPer's dream. So, but yeah, that's simple there. All the directions are there for you, and if you want to thank whoever made this, yeah, go to just tell Tiff Chu, the content designer, that thank you. This is the greatest thing ever.
Suddenly I'm hungry for targ.
I know, right?
I know, right?
Yep.
Anyway,
But
Yeah.
moving right along.
we will have this in the notes for you guys. If you're interested, I highly encourage you folks to check that out. But finally, we have the 2017 Winter Event Rewards. See, we have a large variety of the costumes to pick from, the different winter jackets as it cycles through on the screen there. We also have our Nanopulse Mek'leth, which actually looks like a Star Trek themed version of the Dark Saber or the Black Lightsaber Crystal from Force Unleashed, in my opinion. And we also have our Nerf gun that quite literally fires Nerf darts. Then, let's see, what's our other good thing they had? Freeze your
I
enemies.
think they
and...
had fun with that one, you know.
Oh yeah, they did.
You have to imagine those guys sitting there around the office in their desk, thinking, "Let's do something different, something random, something fun and crazy." And someone's just like, "We got the Winter Event coming up. You know what we can do? Nerf gun."
Well, I mean, they can literally say then that they nerfed it. I mean,
Actually, they did on the live stream because apparently their first version of it was too powerful, so they had to nerf the Nerf gun. And they actually said those exact words on Wednesday on the live stream.
Oh heck, I'm
It
dying
was
here.
awesome. I know.
I'm dying.
that doesn't surprise me knowing
Yeah,
this
killed
bunch.
the boss man.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
Apparently, we can
I'll send
also...
an email
Forget
over
about
to
the,
Anyways, continue on.
don't forget about freezing your enemy.
Oh,
in
that's-
a
that's-
block of ice with a lens.
So, with the Universal Cryovisor Kit module, apparently we can freeze people in a block of ice, which is another very fun thing. Then we also have our Tier 6 Plesh Troll Heavy Raider, and we will have the stats in a different blog for you guys. Then we also have our Pet Kramp'Ihri. So that's some of our rewards that we have this go around, as well as our 2017 Breen Ornament project for your fleets, so don't forget to queue that up. That shouldn't take too much stuff, just forming out some winter event thingies. Words, brain fart, ornaments. Could not think of that word for some reason. But yeah. Any other thoughts from the crew?
Now,
Now-
these look, go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead.
I was gonna say these look like a lot of fun. The Plesh Troll Raider looks very interesting. and I look forward to getting my hands on it at the end of 25 days. The cryovisor kit module, that looks like it's going to be quite a lot of fun. And I can already tell you the the unrestricted aggression, the Nerf dart gun, is very cute and funny to watch as well as to use. The mech, though, I'm sorry, it's an interesting weapon, but it's too big.
You went robot-y big time right there.
I can translate.
Can you hear me now?
The
Good.
robot of the Kirby.
Yeah, the mechlith is just huge compared to what it usually is.
But, yeah. So, we will have this in the notes for you guys. You can check this out if you want. But, anyways, moving along, we have our Infinity Duty Officer Promotion Pack.
Alrighty, so the Infinity Officer Promotion Pack, this is similar to most of the Infinity things that we have. You open up the Infinity Pack, and you have a choice for Gamma Quadrant, Reinforcements, Fleet Support, Romulan Survivor, or Delta Alliance. These also give off... Do they give off Lobi? I don't remember. Yes, they provide either 10 Lobi crystals or a special requisition twin pack, which will contain one of the Tier 6 starships. Now, a crystal I'm sure cover in the bugs section. Make sure you're opening these on a level 60 character or on the character that you want to open it on, because he has had problems. It's bound to character until you choose the ship. He's had problems where he opened it on a low level character, cannot choose the ship, so he's kind of stuck. So don't make that mistake. Make sure you're opening it on a high level character, then you can create it freely once you've chosen your ship.
I'll explain in a little more detail once we get to the bugs part.
Yeah,
like you were
he'll
saying.
explain in a little more detail. But you have the choice between, there's quite a few actually, Krenum, the Alachi Sheshar, both Intel and Command, the Jem'Hadar Strike Ship, the Jem'Hadar Recon Ship, the 23rd Century Tier 6 ship, that's the whole pack. There are lots of packs. The newest three to this are the Sonat Collector Science Dreadnought, the Al-Marie class Smugglers Heavy Escort, and the Special Requisition Pack 26th Century for the Dreadnought Cruiser, which includes the Universal class, the Durgoth Temporal Heavy Dreadnought Battle Cruiser, and the Vilcus Temporal Heavy Dreadnought Warbird. And of course we have the
Centaur.
newest to it is the Zenkathi Zentar, which it's a tier 6 ship. It has, here we are, hull strength 33,000 at level 40, 37,950 at level 50, and 44,000 at level 60. Shield modifier of 1.45. 4 weapons. It has 5 aft weapons, 2 has 3 device slots, bridge officer station, 1 lieutenant tactical, 1 commander tactical / miracle worker, 1 ensign engineering, 1 lieutenant commander science, 1 lieutenant commander universal / command. Our console modifiers: 5 TAC, 2 engineering, 4 science, and 1 universal. So you get that extra console slot, which is awesome. It does have a slow turn rate, 7.5 degrees. And let's see, 1.15 impulse modifier, so it's going to be pretty slow. And slow to stop with an inertia of 50. And it can equip dual cannons. It has 2 hangar bays loaded with Shukden frigates. And it has the Carrier Starship Mastery Package. And the Starship trait is called Automated Aggression. And where is it? Automated Aggression, here it is, will automatically launch a proto-matter-based explosive at the nearest foe when activating certain abilities. And those abilities are Tactical or Miracle Worker Bridge Officer abilities. Each explosive device inflicts a combination of kinetic and radiation damage and has a chance of leaving behind a short-lived radiation hazard which can deal additional damage to foes caught within it. These explosives move quickly, but target your foe's current location and therefore have a lower chance of impacting highly mobile foes. So in other words, if they move fast, we're not going to get hit. Okay. And yep, that's about. Oh, there is a. I'm getting a message.
Yeah, you're lagging pretty hard,
Okay.
Nicholas. You're going roboty. But
Yeah,
Am I robot-y?
yeah, you are. It could be your connection. I mean, like I pointed
It
out, it
probably
might be
is.
you losing packets there. So
yep, it's kind
those
of
technical
slowing
difficulties
down,
with
it's
the
getting
Kirby
better.
robot.
Yep.
going in and
Kirby
out of the
robot.
robotiness. But
Yeah.
on a
We're
fun
sorry
note,
for any of the technical difficulties with the sound, folks. That is one of those things that Kirby is using actual cell phone connection from where she's at. So
Yes.
yeah, it's one of those things. It has its good days and it has its bad days.
Yep. Basically, when the weather gets weathery, nice and bad weathery, then I have issues.
yep.
So
Anyways.
there you go.
Let's go ahead and move on. We're not. That's not what it's about.
Yep. I did, for those people that want some actual numbers, I did actually manage to get some screenshots from the stream that they did Wednesday showing off the ships. So let me actually, I hadn't really planned on this, but I just remembered I had this. Alright, so it is probably going to be very blurry for the stream, but the automated aggression, this is what the tooltip read. When activating any tactical or miracle worker bridge officer ability, launch a single proto-matter barrage projectile at the nearby foe's current location. Upon detonation to foes within 1 kilometer, they took, and he did this on the ground, so the numbers are going to be distorted, but 57 kinetic damage, 57 radiation damage, 100% shield pin, 25% chance to create a proto-matter hazard cloud, which deals 19.1 radiation damage per second. So the numbers are going to be heavily distorted on that. They're probably going to be a lot higher. I would say about 2,000, maybe, something like that, without actually having the ship in front of me. But you can kind of see how that's going to go. Crap. If I could work this thing at all, and the stats for the console itself, gives some turn rate, some crit severity, and healing critical severity, 10% to those. Then you can see a bit of kinetic damage, radiation damage on the projectiles, 2-minute recharge. So, yeah, pretty interesting on that. But, moving along, we have our 2017 winter event stats for our Breen Plestral Heavy Raider. Oh, mine or Artie's.
This would be either you or Boss Man.
Or Boss Man, if he wants it.
Give me. I mean, I can take it. I just gotta get over to it real quick. I don't have the link up right now.
You know, I could just, well, Artie beat me to it. I was gonna say I could just do the simple thing and, you know, like, link it.
Too late.
Yeah, Artie beat me to it, because...
Yeah, I already had it up, basically. You know, when it comes down to it, like anything, I mean, this is the biggest thing I want to point out is anything when it comes down to these ships is they're not necessarily going to be the best, they're not necessarily going to be the worst either. But the great thing about them is they're a free ship that anyone can get. And so if you complain about not having a T6 ship, this is your chance for a T6 ship. So this is one of those things to remember. If you need one, this is a great way to get it, especially if you're looking for a good DPS ship. This has because this is a raider, this has the 4 front weapons and 2 aft. Yeah, I kind of hate these configurations, to be honest. My personal opinion on it, I hate it. You know, terrible because you lose so much. But, you know, stations-wise, you got the Commander, Tactical, Ensign, Universal, Lieutenant, and the rest of Universal, actually. So, Ensign, Lieutenant Commander, and then a Lieutenant Commander Universal Pilot. I like that myself because I love the pilot commands, my pilot skills, and those ones are among my most favorites. But and then you got the consoles that are basically a 533, tactical, engineer, and science in that order. When it comes down to it, if you've ever flown any sort of raider ship, you know it's going to be very squishy in the hull. I mean, it's just no way to get around. This probably has what, like 10,000 shield, and you got a shield on there. So, but you know, when it comes down to the rest of the stuff, I mean, it's going to be able to. This thing, it's got a high turn rate in there, so something to consider there when it comes down to it. I see some good stuff with it, but at the same time, I'm kind of wondering, like, why am I going to make use out of this as a full-time ship for myself? You know?
Right.
What's y'all's opinion on it? I mean, you know, you guys play the game more often than not. You know, more often than me, I should say. I am more or less just a casual player playing once in a blue moon, and it's a blue moon tonight, I guess.
Well, I mean, obviously having the universal seating, that much of it gives you...
I think that much universal on this particular ship is awesome. I mean, it puts it right into the realm of the bird of prey that the Klingons have. That's all universal.
Well, absolutely. It gives you quite a bit of adaptability. I could, as scary as this sounds, I could actually turn this into a tank and everything after what I did with the Aquarius. And
yep.
I've got all my tacticals right there in one. Then if I wanted to, I could go, say, do the Ensign Universal and the Lieutenant Universal as Engineer, dump the rest into Science if I wanted to. Or just kind of mix and match. And then, like you, I don't really like the 4-2 weapons layout. I can kind of understand why they did it.
I think you lose too much.
You do.
I mean, it's still a great ship when it comes down to it. It's still going to do a lot of damage. It's still going to do a lot of good stuff when you have it in the hands of anyone that is practiced with it enough to learn how to fly it and whatnot. But I think that 33% damage boost that the Raiders get isn't enough to make up for the 4-2.
You definitely lose power by having only the 6 weapons, but at the same time, like you were pointing out, you could argue that the Raider damage makes up for it. You could argue all those universal seats make up for it. And depending on how you play your cards right, it very well could.
Yeah.
You are forgetting it does have the experimental weapon slot, which is essentially another weapon.
That is true.
Not to mention, it's the starship trait that goes with it.
Yes,
And
the
speaking of
cold-hearted
that,
starship traits.
I actually have stats, yet again. If my computer will cooperate with me.
Yay!
There we go. So, in case y'all are wondering why sometimes it takes me a little bit to pull this stuff up, I've got, to give y'all an idea, I've got 4 monitors going. I have TeamSpeak and XSplit on one. I've got the blogs and everything y'all see on another. I've got a folder of stuff I can pull up. I've got my local and Twitch on another, so sometimes
That's exactly how I did it when I was actually hosting the stream, so...
Sometimes my computer hates me, let's put it that way. It's a love-hate relationship.
Mine never did.
Hate you greatly. But in seriousness, the stats it gives, it says, after activating auxiliary power to emergency battery or any pilot bridge officer ability, damage caused by your energy weapons also applies a resistance debuff to the damaged foe, while also reducing their current and max power in all subsystems and reducing their flight speed. This effect stacks multiple times, but only applies to the first shot of each weapon's firing cycle. So once per firing cycle you can get this. It says, while active energy weapons only apply cold-hearted to foes once per firing cycle, each stack of cold-hearted causes a minus 9.1% flight speed, a minus 10 all damage resistance, minus 2 to current and max subsystem power, and it can stack up to 5 times. So essentially a minus 50 all damage resistance, a minus 10 all power and maximum power, so potentially capping their power out at 115, and then I would have to do the exact math on that, but for the flight speed, but pretty hefty debuff.
Yes, it is.
And then I'll pull up the console.
You know, at the same time, I look at this raider and I'm like, okay, this is, I mean, they've done the exact same thing that they've done on some of the other ships, where they revise some of the old T5 ships and make them 6 and with a few modifications and upgrades and yada yada blah blah blah. I kind of would have preferred, and this is my personal opinion, I would have preferred a brand new, different kind of ship and the revised version of the plush brick, because I already have the original one, the T5 one.
Sadly,
and while this gets the upgrade of the T6 stuff, it's not exactly what I see as a huge improvement on a lot of the front.
Sadly, I missed the plush brick mainly due to my own stupidity. I didn't know back then that I could queue multiple projects on different tunes.
Oops.
So I missed out on my Sarthelm, and I missed out on this. Though I was able to pick up a Sarthelm through the Phoenix box, so But console-wise, for those that are curious about the stats, it gives 26.8% Polaron damage, so it does give a good boost to Polaron. It is a 25 starship control expertise, can be equipped on any of the Breen ships. Then the sensor disruption field is an AoE placate and damage resistance debuff. Placate for 10 seconds or until you deal 14,402.6 damage on the jam target. Improved by aux power level and control expertise. And a minus 10 to all damage resist for 10 seconds on a 2-minute recharge. And it is part of the 4-piece for all of the previous Breen ships. Sadly, I don't have the stats in front of me to show you guys on that. They didn't really show the 4-piece set. Otherwise, I would have been able to show that to you guys. And I'm also not in my Breen ship either, which doesn't really help. But so, that's our stats. Oh, go ahead.
So, there are a couple important things to note here. Number one, the console can only be equipped on Breen starships. So, that's an important thing to note.
Thought I said that.
The other thing to note, I just want to make sure we separate that out and
Fair point.
make a point of it. Yeah. The other thing to make a point of is the cold-hearted trait only works when you hit aux to bat, auxiliary power to emergency battery, or pilot abilities. So if you're not using
Let me think about
any
what
of
I
those,
used.
yes, I know. But if you as a player, listener, are not using any of those, then you would want to include those in your build if you're going to use this starship trait.
I have to agree with that because as I can tell right now with the starship trait, if you are using it, you can make this into a really good raider. You just get slow up behind your enemy and you slow them down with all your weapon power, as what the starship trait does, and then you just wipe them out. It works from how it looks, but on paper it's one thing. In test, it's probably going to be something different. So who knows?
Well, and if you take into account the other consoles that the brains sets have, there's lots of the skills in the other consoles that are draining things. So if you stack those all up on one shot, plus any other things that drain energy, you're going to end up leaving someone with no energy in a short bit of time.
It's true. Depending on how you play your cards, you could indeed do a complete shutdown.
Oh yeah.
But, anyways, for those of you that haven't got your ship yet and everything, you're not one of those weirdos like me that's used a little bit of low-buy, or you just kind of want to see what you're in for, we will have this blog in the notes for you guys so you can check that out. But our next big thing is STO joining the Humble Bundle.
I believe this would be
And
Chris.
okay, so this one is me. So yeah, I'm having a night. It's one of those days. But from December the 6th until December the 31st, they're teaming up with the Yogcast Jingle Jam 2017. This is a charity event that's going on through the Humble Bundle program, everything, and for those of you that are wondering, some of the things you can get include a code for the Toss Bridge crew. This includes all of the original characters, except for Kirk, and everything. And
This is the same set of codes that they gave at Star Trek Las Vegas, what was it, last year or the year before?
Yeah, for the
Believe so.
50th anniversary.
Yeah.
That's the one that we
Yep.
went to first for pilot review at the
Yep.
Star Trek
Yes.
convention.
But I do encourage you guys to check this bundle out. You do get the toss code, you get a bunch of other games and everything. They've been revealing a different thing they're adding to it each day, and that sort of thing. If you pay, I think it's $35 was what it was, you can get all the games, you can get the bridge crew, that sort of thing. And considering everything you're getting, I don't think that's too bad of a deal for $35.
No,
It's a really
not,
great deal.
Actually,
Yep.
it is. It's a really great deal. It is important to note this is a code for PC only, so it will not work on console, and it's also only going to give you the duty officers for Federation officers.
Don't you mean bridge
So
officers?
if you're KDF, yeah, the bridge officers are for Federation characters.
But
Yeah,
in
it
case
only
anybody
gives
is
you
wondering,
Fed characters.
everything, I know
So,
events like this, sometimes people get a little leery and everything. All money from the bundle goes to a mix of the charitable organizations. They actually mention this on the site. In fact, they have a link in this article taking you to the bundle so you can see this. I know I myself have actually purchased from Humble Bundle in the past, so I would vouch for them in that aspect, that they are... they do what they say they do. They send it straight to the charity and everything. So maybe support some charities, get yourself some original series bridge crew in the process.
Yep.
But we will link this in the notes for you guys to their blog, which also will lead you to the bundle if you want to check that out. But moving along, we had our PC and console patch notes.
Okay, I'll cover PC. Who wants to cover console?
do we
Okay.
have both there?
Yep, both of them are there. It's a forum post
Okay.
that leads you to both of them. So, let's see. All right.
Okay, I'll do console.
Alright, so starting off, it basically explains that, winter event is here. There you go. Q has begun this year's winter event, and is telling us about the Kramp'Ihri. They talked about that, that's there now. Takes you to the winter event blog. Alright, moving down to general. Foundry is back! Everyone rejoice! Foundry is back!
Hallelujah!
Alright, they've moved on to fixing the crash with demo record. That's been a great thing because I know so many people that have been trying to record things for STO with demo record, and it just keeps on crashing. I'm glad they fixed this. So, the Q UI updates. They did the thing where double-clicking a queue now automatically queues the player. After a player queues for a match, that then closes the window, it reopens the window to queue for more. The original queue will no longer be dropped, so that's a good thing. Yeah, this apparently has been a thing that people just been noticing, and they've fixed it now, so no worries. They've also added the weekend events to the calendar for December and January because last I checked, they did the whole 1999 thing, and I'm pretty sure they fixed that now. Alright, moving down to systems. There's quite a bit here. Resolved an issue that allowed the experimental flak shot to target cloaked enemies. Well, that's good. That's good for the cloaked enemies, I guess. Resolved an issue that prevented several ships from being able to activate subspace interception. That's one thing. That's a good fix.
Quality of life.
Resolved stacking and description issues with the shield overload starship trait. That's good. Updated the tractor beam mines to claim that they cannot chase things. Many people were so confused by that. The introspection personal trait now only plays FX while in combat. Yeah, I've seen that happen in a non-combat situation. It gets kind of blinding sometimes. Resolved an issue where the turtle starship trait would active at full throttle. I haven't actually seen that issue, but I'm glad they fixed that. Resolved an issue that allowed the emitter synergy to activate twice on some abilities. I can see where that can end up being a problem. Resolved an issue that prevented the Staff of Landrew and Soothing Pheromones kit modules from being treated as control kit modules in some cases. Resolved an issue that prevented automated adrenal hypo and from being treated as a heal. The automated adrenal hypo kit module's minimum cooldown is now 45 seconds. I understand why they fixed that then. Resolved an issue that caused several abilities to display incorrectly, such as the Pulse Phaser proc buff and debuff icons. I'm glad they fixed that. So many people were so confused by that. Resolved an issue where tooltips were showing duration for power and buff that are always on. Resolved an issue where some 23rd century items were not labeled that they were from the 23rd century. Fixed an issue that made the 2016 Starbase Winter Ornament not appear for fleets that had completed the project for it. It can now be selected from the console that controls the ornaments displayed. And finally, the known issues. The new black backlist from the Winter event may be invisible on low graphic settings, and obtaining the Breen Crush Trawl Heavy Raider to Tier 6 does not currently unlock ability to purchase Breen Flesh Back Raider hangar pets for the use for Breen ship with hangar bays.
So that means that they're going to bring that in eventually. That's just one of those things that gotta get fixed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what that is. Because there's people that's probably like Chris here who happen to have blacked off on it last time, or in many cases people who are brand new to the game who are like, hey, I want to have these pets, but I can't because I didn't get it. Well, this ship would, once you get it, and once you get that fixed, you'll get it.
Yes. Okay, so the fun notes, which is with the PC. First thing is the winter event. Q is returned to begin this year's winter event. The Kramp'Ihri you may fight as he terrorizes winter event celebrators throughout the zone. And you can go to the winter event vendor and check out this year's new items. And it has a list of the blogs that you can check out for more information. Under our general, resolve a graphics-related crash.
And you are Robotty again.
Let's see. Any better now?
Can't really tell.
Okay. Should be getting better now.
If anything, it just got worse.
User entered your channel.
And it's... Oh god, the Kirbys are multiplying.
Oh no.
Increase!
We didn't do that for Halloween.
User in your channel
Can you
timed
hear
out.
me now?
Unfortunately, I mean, yes.
Alright, we're general. Resolved graphics related crash. Resolved an issue the tried not warbird from using the IRW prefix once renamed. The D-pad can now be used when playing mini games. That's a big quality of life. Temporary hit points are now displayed when in use on ground maps. All special requisition choice pack Tier 6 promotional choice pack items will now be bind on pickup. The ship packs obtained by
Same
opening
here.
these packages may still be freely traded.
Yep, you're Robotty again.
Okay, somebody take.
Okay, so, picking up. It says, all special requisition choice packs, Tier 6. Items will now be bind on pickup. The ships obtained by opening the packages can now be freely traded. This means if, for example, with this new promotion, I drop a ship pack and everything, the choice pack itself, the Infinity version, will bind to my character on pickup. However, the individual ship that I choose from the pack can still be traded as normal. Resolved an issue that prevented the Regenerative Invigoration Kit module from being affected by the Kit Readiness skill. You can see how that could be annoying. Resolved an issue that prevented several ships from being able to activate subspace interception. Then, for the known issues, the 2017 ship ornament from the Winter event shows the incorrect ship. Green Ship Project for Winter event shows the wrong ship in its image. Sankethi Dreadnought incorrectly displays plus energy res and plus radiation resistance at rank 3 instead of the correct buff of plus damage. The new Black Mech Leth from the Winter event may be invisible. And obtaining the Plesh Troll Heavy Raider T6 does not unlock the ability for the Pleshbreck Raider pets. So, yeah, that's pretty much console notes.
And a lot of the issues that are relatively the same is people will notice there are not a whole lot of differences between the two.
Yep. Very similar notes, pretty much, but
Yep.
all the same, we will have the links to the notes so you guys can check them out, see the changes that have been made. But, moving along, we have our 20% duty officer sale. And linking it for Boss Man again.
Just in case.
Not that we would ever throw him or anybody under the bus. I mean, what?
Yeah,
No.
what did you
He
link
just thought
me?
he'd come hang out. He didn't know he'd have to read.
The 20% off sale, good sir.
Ooh. Yeah, it's one of the things that comes out. I mean, if anyone who watches the things, this is one of those things that comes around on a regular basis. So, if you needed to get some duty officer packs, now's your time to do that, pretty much. You have another 2 more days before it goes away. So, Enjoy those, because those can be very beneficial for some people who are wanting a bunch of unique officers and whatnot. Basically, this is 20% off of all the packs that's in the store. So, but did they say if this was on? This might be both console and
I think this
Is
is.
I think this is
strictly
PC only.
PC.
PC only.
See.
Yeah. I don't play the PlayStation ones and know what's in the Mog Station or not. Well, not the Mog Station. Different game. Sorry. The C store on the PlayStation, because I don't play it often enough. My kids play it more than I do.
And the good thing is, for the next couple of days, this is running at the same time as the Infinity promotion. So if
Yep.
you want to roll the dice, then this will be a good chance to do it.
Yeah.
I would like to mention though that people, when you're going to get these packs, I recommend trying to get that reinforcement duty officer pack, because you will be able to get the tough little freighter at some point. There's a chance. Get it. Fun. Cool.
So, would it make me a jerk to mention that I dropped an Infinity ship on my 5th duty officer pack? And then I went on later in the day to drop 4 fleet ship modules?
Dumb luck, I swear.
My husband opened a very small amount. I forget how many.
I'm going to guess 2.
The Infinity packs. He opened just he opened 4. You were close, Artie. You were close. He
2 off.
opened 4, and he got. He ended up getting some auction run.
Oh.
Ooh. Yeah, which he gave to me.
Which one
He
did
ended up giving
Zmont
it
come
to
out
me,
of?
But Gamma Quadrant.
Gamma Quadrant, okay.
Yeah, it's going into the prizes for my Christmas party for my for my fleet. Oh,
Sweet.
KDF fleet, but yeah.
But, anyways, that's all the articles we have for this evening. Moving along, we have our budget build. Now, this is something that we'd kind of put off for a while because it wasn't in the builder. Thankfully, we finally have the Miracle Worker ships in the builder and everything. There's still a few little odds and ends missing, but they're getting around to adding that stuff, thankfully. And what we have this evening is a bare bones version of a Tucker class, or the Tactical Miracle Worker Cruiser. This is actually a ship that is outpacing my Keldon at the moment. Everything at the high end. So, there's that. For the weapons on the ship and everything, we went with a Polaron base. This is a bare bones version. Bare bones budgets, we typically assume a maximum EC spending limit of 2 million. Everything else must be free or as cheap as possible. For our forward weapons, we have 3 Dominion Polaron beam arrays, which means you're going to be getting up close and personal with the Boldly They Rode mission. And we also have our chronometric Polaron beam array in the front. For rear weapons, we have 3 more of our Dominion Polarons, and we also have the chronometric Polaron Omni. Now, the Dominion Polarons and everything, what makes them good is, 1, that they're free, and 2, they're
User
actually
disconnected from your channel.
hybrid beams of the Tetrion and Polaron. So you have the potential to proc either a Tetrion shield drain or a Polaron power drain. Then, the good thing about the chronometric beams is their shield penetrating abilities. Then, couldn't remember my procs there for a minute, because brain fart. Then for our shields, our engines, our deflector, and our warp core, I decided to go with the Jim Hadar set this time around. You'll be running Boldly They Rode and Operation Gamma. It's split between those 2 missions, which means you will need a shuttle and everything. And if you need help with the shuttle build, Artie was pretty good at putting a shuttle build together.
Yep.
Everything. And I believe we should still have the shuttle build around here somewhere that we did. But
Sit off for you people. Yeah. We'll get it around for you guys.
Yep. The good thing about the Jem'Hadar set is actually the stats that come with it. Now, it starts out at a Mark 11 very rare, so it is one step below the Mark 12s that you're normally going to see with some of the other mission sets, so that is one thing to keep in mind, but by no means is it any less capable. Now, the good thing about the Jem'Hadar deflector is it gives a nice bit of drain expertise where it is on its own. Then you've got the engines, which are pretty nice, and the shields, which are pretty good. Now, the main reasons you're going to want to use Jem'Hadar, or why I chose it for this particular build, is also for the Jem'Hadar, but for the Polaron buff that it can give. So you're going to be getting a little more power out of your Polarons. You've also got your anti-proton sweep, which can disable cloaks and do a little bit of damage. Now, because the Jem'Hadar set is a bit of an older set and everything, it does not come with a warp core standard, so you're going to have to get one. The warp core of choice, typically, that we recommend is the Temporal Phase Overcharged core. This comes from the Butterfly mission. If you were here for the Delta recruitment event, then you know about a little device known as the Temporal Negotiator. The Temporal Negotiator, while it was active, and you're benefiting from it, would cut your bridge officer cooldowns in half. This essentially gives you the same thing in the form of a warp core capacitor. So it can be very nasty. For our devices, we usually think of them as personal preference, but a free device that is fairly good that anybody can get is the Subspace Field Modulator. The Subspace Field Modulator comes from the Skirmish mission. This one will give you a bit of defensive value whenever you activate it, a little bit of damage resistance. Now, the downside to the device is it does debuff you for a minus 400 proton damage resistance rating. Now, there aren't too many enemies that use proton damage, but there are enough of them that it does warrant a mention. Now, for the engineering consoles and the consoles as a whole, since this is a Miracle Worker ship, you have the additional console slot of the Universal Console. Just like it says, you could fit any console in there. You could roll a tactical console, you could roll an engineering, you could roll a science, or just throw a straight Universal Console in there. It doesn't matter. Now, for our consoles, we actually stuck our chronometric capacitor in our Universal slot. This is a tactical console, so we're essentially getting 4 engineering, 4 science, and 4 tactical by using the Universal as an additional tactical console. For engineering consoles, we have our piezoelectric focuser. This console, in and of itself, is basically an RCS, field generator, and a Polaron modulator slammed into one console. This comes from the Lucari rep, gives a nice chunk of Polaron damage. I think it's 15% boost to turn rate, and 18% additional maximum shield capacity. So, very potent console to pick up from Lucari rep. Then we have our assimilated module. This gives a bit of boost to critical chance and critical severity for free. Then we also have our 0-point energy conduit. This gives a bit of drain expertise as well as some critical chance. Then, for the final engineering console, we actually have the Crimson Force Field. This comes actually with the ship itself, and the best comparison that I can give to what this does is essentially a forward-firing cone version of a warp bubble. And the fact that it debuffs the enemy damage output and things. I may actually, I don't know if I have it in my inventory, so I could give you, actually I do. So really quickly, you can see it gives some plus 20 hull pin and some bonus experience. Then for the enemy for 12 seconds, in the forward arc, it disables the enemy regen, disables their projectiles, minus 50% all outgoing damage, minus 50% healing received on a 2-minute recharge. And it can be equipped on any Miracle Worker cruiser or warbird. So, very powerful console. Then we have 4 of our restorative particle focusers from our fleet. These are the Drain X ×2 variety to boost our Polaron Drain. And these we can justify because they're very cheap. You could actually pick up a full complete set of these in a little over a day. Everything, it would be about 10,000 to lithium, or if you picked up just 3 of them, you could pick up 3 of them in a day. They're only 2,500 a pop, so not too bad at only 5k fleet credits. Then, for our tactical consoles, we have our Polaron phase modulators. We picked up these from the exchange for about 200k a pop, so only 600k. That left us about 1.4 million out of our 2 million EC budget, so you still got a little bit of EC left to play with if you wanted to. But overall, hopefully you guys can kind of see what we're going for. We're trying to boost our Polaron Drain, trying to pick up as much as we can there. And the good thing about the chronometric set is also that the on use for the 3 set gives a bit of energy damage boost for the time, and also a percentage boost to our exotic damage. And that's going to come in handy once we get to our bridge officers. But first we'll look at the skills. This is pretty much a basic universal setup that we found pretty decent success with. This is typically what I like to recommend to people. We have 2 points into hull and shield capacity each, 1 point into hull and shield regen. Then we also have our advanced energy weapon training for free damage, 2 points into improved EPS flow, 1 in impulse expertise. We also have 2 into our control X and drain expertise each. We also have maxed out advanced targeting expertise. That's going to help offset some of the firing, the accuracy penalty to firing modes like fall and scatter volley. Then our advanced defensive maneuvering, making us harder to hit. Then we have our ablative hull plating. We have all 3 points into that to give us free defensive value. 2 points into improved shield hardness for less damage taken to the shields. We've maxed out our weapon amplification and specialization for free crit chance and severity. 1 point into defensive and offensive subsystem tuning each. Then we have 2 points into our exotic particle generators. Then finally we've maxed out our long-range targeting sensors to offset the weapon drop-off penalty some. Then here in this particular build, I've actually slated the hull penetration for our tactical points on the captain tier. You can use either the hull pin or the shield pin. There is no right or wrong answer here. As long as you have at least one of them, you're okay, I would say. Then finally we have warp core potential for some free power, and finally we have our shield absorption. We did this in this case to negate some damage and pick up a little bit of extra healing to hopefully take some of the edge off of those critical hits. For our specializations, we went with Strategist Secondary and also Miracle Worker Primary. This is going to allow you quite a bit of healing, quite a bit of survivability. Then for our Captain traits and our Starship traits, we have for personal space the accuracy, or accurate, to offset to the accuracy loss that you get under fall now. We have Beam Barrage, which is our chosen R&D crafting school for this tune. Then we have our Beam Training for additional free beam damage. Elusive, to make us harder to hit. Fleet Coordinator for free damage based on how many you have in your party, including yourself. Nanite Repair Matrix comes from the Midnight Mission. Gives a nice little hull heal. Then we have Grace Under Fire, which is the career-specific trait for engineers. The builder itself typically defaults to engineering characters. If you're not an engineer, but you still want to use this build, then just swap in your own career-specific trait, and you should be good to go. Finally, we have Operative for free critical chance and severity. Then we have the Point Blank Shot from the House Peg mission. And basically, free damage the closer you are to the target, up to a certain maximum. For starship traits, there's actually supposed to be 4 here. One of them is the Miracle Worker trait, which is actually missing from the builder. I could not find that, so I stuck it in the notes. But your 4th trait would actually be going the extra mile. That allows you 15% additional hull and shield healing. And if you heal or get healed while you're above 90% hull, you get additional temporary hit points. Then we have our redirecting arrays. This actually comes with the ship itself. While Fire at Will is active, any damage that your starship receives will periodically extend its duration. So you can potentially stretch out your fall to last a lot longer with this trait. We have our unconventional tactics from our strategist tree. This gives Brace for Impact a damage boost for a short time. Then we have our best defense. Our attack patterns grant a hull healing buff along with normal effects. Our space reputation picked up advanced engines this go around because the ships can be a little bit slow to turn. Then we have our advanced targeting systems for free critical severity. Our Aux Power Offensive, which gives us a damage boost based on Aux Power level, fucking words. Then we have our Precision for free critical hit chance. Then for our active reps, we have Anti-Time Entanglement Singularity. Still very nasty ability from the Temporal rep. We have our Biomolecular Shield Generator. This is the giant green ball that you see people poof up in space missions, such as ISA. It basically gives a bit of extra regeneration to your shields and provides some healing to you and allies in the area. Deploy Sensor Interference Platform for a nice little "oh crap, I'm about to die" button. This allows you to have a small little platform spawn which will taunt enemies to itself, and it will last until a certain amount of time has passed or until it's destroyed, whatever happens first. Finally, Quantum Singularity Manipulation from our Romulan rep. This gives a plus 100 boost to all science stats while it's active, as well as a temporary cloaking effect. To get the best bang for your buck out of some of these powers, use your Quantum Singularity Manipulation first, follow up with any other exotic boost that you may have, then drop your Anti-Time Entanglement Singularity on the enemy, and you'll get a lot more bang for your buck.
Yes, and it is important to know for this build, because this build is focusing on Drain. Drain is one of the abilities that Quantum Singularity Manipulation boosts.
Indeed. So, your Polar on Drain is going to be a lot nastier while that is active. Then, coming into our bridge officers, for the ship you have a Lieutenant Commander Universal, Lieutenant Commander Tactical, Commander Engineering / Miracle Worker, Ensign Engineering, and Lieutenant Science / Miracle Worker. So you've got some flexibility with the ship to play around with. For the Lieutenant Commander Universal, we went with a Hazard Emitters 1, a Charged Particle Burst 1, and a Gravity Well 1. So a good thing you could do here, group everybody up with your Gravity Well, pop your exotic boosts off if you wanted to supercharge that Gravity Well beforehand, then drop your Charged Particle Burst, and you can pretty much shield strip everybody in there, in that Gravity Well. And that's assuming you also don't do a complete shutdown through your Polarons. Then you have your Lieutenant Commander Tactical, which is a Tactical Team 1. This is going to automatically divert your shields to wherever you're getting hit, as well as purchase certain things like boarding parties. Attack Pattern Beta, which is a nice little debuff to the enemy. And then your Beam Fire at Will 3, that's going to let you smack most anything in range with a beam. Then for our Commander Engineering / Miracle Worker, Engineering Team 1 to regen a bit of hull. Then we also have our Reverse Shield Polarity to recharge our shields in a pinch. Then, for our Miracle Worker power on this station, we have our Narrow Sensor Bands. Now, basically, this gives you increased damage if you're within 6 kilometers of a target up to a certain maximum. And there was some issues with this ability when it first came out, where people weren't benefiting from the bonus. That issue has since been fixed that I'm able to tell. So this ability should be good to use. But then, finally, for our last engineering power on this station, we have our Warp Bubble. Basically, Warp Bubble at rank 3 will cut the damage output of enemies in half, as well as their turn rate, for any enemies within 4 kilometers. There is no hard upper limit that I've observed to that. So, very potent power. Then we have, on our Ensign Engineering seat, an emergency power to weapons 1. So we can get some extra power to our weapons and temporary damage increase to them. For our final seat, we have a Science Team 1. This gives a bit of shields back to us, as well as purges certain debuffs like pesky subnucleonic effects. And then we have, finally, our Align Shield Frequencies 2. This basically reduces damage to the shields for a time. So, the best comparison I could give is think of this somewhat as a free version of the Rotate Shield Frequencies that engineers can get, except in a Bridge Officer power, is the best comparison that I can give here. But overall, you've got quite a bit of drain to draw from with the ship. You can control them through your gravity wells. You can charge up the exotic abilities that you've got and lay quite a smackdown to foes with this build. The total amount of dilithium you're looking at is about 55,000. So you're looking at about a week's worth of dilithium refinement, assuming only one character is running. We spent 600,000 EC and only 20,000 fleet credits. So I think fairly cheap overall. And you guys have got a lot of potential to work with these ships. But thoughts from our panel?
I will probably add another emergency power to weapons. Maybe instead of the, I don't know, maybe instead of the engineering team, or trade out the reverse polarity. I don't know, maybe you're getting survivability for it, but I'd like to see another emergency powered weapons.
Well, I'll actually tell you where you could put it without losing the survival too
Where's
much.
that?
You could drop the warp bubble since you've got the Crimson Force Field.
User entered your channel.
You just have to make sure you're able to direct your Crimson Force Field a little better. It takes a little bit of practice with that. Move the reverse shield polarity to a shield polarity 3, and then where the shield polarity 1 was, pick up an emergency to weapons 2. So,
User in your channel timed out.
and that was the duplicate Kirby exploding, in case anybody was wondering.
Yes.
So you could
Another.
pick up another emergency weapons if you wanted.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Which is what I'd like to see. I mean, I'm more on the DPS side of things, and I know that
Right.
emergency powered weapons having it on as a constant will improve your DPS. So.
And we
So
do
that's one
try
of my
to.
things.
Oh, sorry.
Good answer.
But we do try to present both sides of the equation to you guys as much as we can, because we don't want you guys to think, hey, this is the only way you can build the ship, this is how you have to do it, or you're a scrub. We don't want people thinking that, because, like I say, what we give here is basically a template. This is something you can take, you can make your own over time, and hopefully get a ship going without having to invest too much into it up front.
And treat things here, treat things there, but the big thing is, you treat things out and change it, test. See if it had the effect you wanted before you make other changes.
Yep. But, anyways, like I say, that's what we have for our budget build. Like I say, keep in mind, you've got a lot of flexibility to work with on the ship and everything, especially with that universal console seat. That's something that I honestly did not see them ever adding. I mean, I'm glad they did, don't get me wrong. But definitely experiment, play around with it and everything. But we will have this in the notes for you guys. You can check out the budget build and everything. But moving along to the bugs corner. Now, one of the things Kirby had mentioned and kind of set me up for was an issue involving the Infinity packs for the new promotion. Now, essentially, let's see, is this the... Yep, this is the right blog. Okay, so what they were talking about as far as the packs binding in some of the patch notes. If you've ever opened an Infinity lockbox and everything, and you've been lucky enough to actually drop a ship pack, that ship pack will bind to your character. Such as, let's say I get the Infinity pack that would let me pick something like a Keldon, or a Bentham Assault Cruiser, or an Atlas Dreadnought. The actual intel, or the actual Infinity pack itself is bound to my character, but once I open the pack and I choose the Keldon or the Atlas or whatever ship, I can then trade that particular ship freely. But the issue with the Infinity packs for this promotion was that, not that they bound a character because they said that was going to happen, the big issue that happened was they had a level 40 restriction on the pack. So not only could you not trade it through your account bank, but if the character you had it on wasn't at least a Rear Admiral lower half, or the other faction equivalents, meaning level 40, you couldn't even open the pack. Now, I had talked to Bordicus about it, and I had asked him about it, and he said that they were removing that restriction, because as he said, it served no purpose. And if those of you that were wondering, that's actually what the little server interruption / restart was about the other day. It was meant to actually fix this issue. But it kind of flipped me the bird. So, for me, not only is the level restriction still there, but now the character that I have my promotional pack on can't even interact with it. Beforehand, if I tried to open the box, it would kick it back and say that I'm not eligible because I'm too low of a rank. Now, it won't give me that message, nor will it open the ship menu. So, right now I'm basically sitting on a paperweight until it gets fixed, which, to their credit, I have been working with them, going back and forth on Twitter and stuff, with Ambassador Kale and some of the crew to get it resolved. But if anybody else is having an issue like this, please let me know everything so I can pass it along to them and everything. The more, I guess, sources of this they can find, the better at fixing it it could be. Like I say, they don't like bugs any more than you or I do. That's one of the big ones. And one that actually Artie pointed out to me. And let us know if you're seeing this too, but it is actually the nanopulse weapon that we have. The new Mechleth does not have sound. Whereas the other nanopulses would at least make a lasery or a whooshing sound, this one doesn't. At least that I can tell. So, let us know if he and I are just both deaf, or if it actually doesn't have sound for you guys. But that's some of the major ones anyway. But I would say if you do have an Infinity pack, if you are experiencing the issue I have, hang on to the pack, don't get rid of it or anything. Give them time to work it out. They will fix it for you and everything. But yeah, so that's pretty much what I have as far as the Bugs Corner goes and everything. But moving along, we have actually the Teacher's Corner, and I don't mean to sound condescending, but do you think you can hold up to do this spot?
I hope so.
I guess we're about to find out.
No. Yes, we're about to find out. So pay no attention to the R-rated shenanigans to your left, or to your right, sorry.
Nope.
Anyway.
No, yeah, I'm not going there. I'm zoomed in on the video at the moment.
Anyway, so The Teacher Corner this week is a first look at the Kramp'Ihri. So if you haven't been to Wonderland yet, and you are wondering how to do the Kramp'Ihri, take a look at this video. This is a mix of the Krampus, Krampus legend from Europe and the Kos'karii from STO. So you can imagine it's quite fun. Obviously I had to go and play it myself for the video, but I give instructions, show you how it's done. The Krampus or Kramp'Ihri does appear in different locations, including the middle area where you shop and can open the exchange and all of that, and get your Epohh friends and all of and whatnot. So you are not even safe in the middle of the Winter Wonderland where you first spawn in. So, and we have a snowman jumping up and down. Anyway, it's our professional troll, Steve. So thoughts, questions?
I've personally found this helpful because I'm completely new to the Krampus thing, as it is a new thing this year. I'm just like, how do I even do this? I've been running around most of the day just trying to learn it myself, and then I just sat down, watched the video, learned it quicker than I've been doing all day.
Well, I'm glad you that it helped you.
It makes it simple now. I now know what to do. It's great.
Leave it to Steve.
Oh.
He and Timber are in a face-off.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Anyway.
Yeah, if you're curious about the new Kramp'Ihri events, definitely check out Teacher's video. She does a good job at explaining everything, as always. But, anyways, that's what we've got for Teacher's Corner this evening. Coming up on our final segment of the night, we have the RP Corner with Artie. What have you got for us this week, dude?
Well, since Teachers covered the Kramp'Ihri stuff, I'm covering everything else if you're new to the Winter Wonderland. I'm in my section, it's just a little bit of the different events that you may see around in the Winter Wonderland. Starting off on the top of the list, Snowball Fight. In this little event, what happens is that you and everyone else in the on the map will be faced with a horde of snowmen just spawning wherever on the map, and you gotta defeat 100 of them to summon a very large, very menacing Snowman Overlord, which spawns at the icy lake in the center of the map. It's very simple. All you have to really do is have snowballs, snowball guns, the candy guns, whatever suits your fancy, and just go ham on all these snowmen. Just basically shoot them, feed them, however you like it. And then
Go ham.
you get a whole...
Go ham. Is that a technical term?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Go
yes.
ham.
And if you're not sure where to get these weapons that Artie's talking about, they're in the Winter Events store.
Yes.
Under your Reputation and Events tab.
In fact,
Which
we're
I will
currently
be
holding them now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Which, as a prelude for next episode, I will be going over those weapons in a little bit more detail. So, events first, then weapons. All right. The next event we have here is Tide of Ice. In one of the smaller areas on the map, you will see a gate, 4 different lanes and whatnot. Basically, here, you and all the other captains on the map would be defending a bunch of small gates from Snow-Borg. Yes, a whole horde of Snowmen Borg will be charging through those 4 little lanes, and you will have to use all your might with all the snow-powered weapons you have to defeat them, to make sure they don't come any closer. So, that's basically the simple thing. As you go through, each wave varies depending on maybe all the Snow-Borg are going down 1 lane, 2 lanes, all the lanes, and up to wave 10, a Snow-Borg queen will spawn, and you'll have to defeat her before moving on, and then it ends from there. The next one is Klingon Ice Fishing. This one's actually a pretty fun one.
Ice Fishing?
And there it is.
Well, technically you're not wrong, because as in this one, as for this
Welcome
one,
to Pilot Review After Dark.
Yeah. You gotta get
in my defense, they told me to before the show. So-
Yeah, that was a little bit of our fault. Well, basically for this, going along with the ice fishing joke, you have to get a special Klingon fishing. You got me. Fishing gauntlet.
And there it is.
Wow.
Oh well. Well, you have to get
we
this
got
special
you.
gauntlet that comes in 3 different versions: uncommon, the rare, and then advanced, I believe. The very rare version of it. And link, go to the specified lit up areas that are usually random around the lake. Run to them as close as you can into the lighted area. Basically attack the ice, and you would get probably a gummy fish of varying size, from usually small to medium to things like humongous, where you have to actually beat up the fish, and my bad, huge that you have to beat up the fish, humongous that eats you. And you gotta waddle all the way over to the offering dish. After a certain amount of...
It didn't
Yeah?
work for me.
I was gonna say, and in the true RP spirit, Artie and I earlier came up with the story for why the fish will sometimes give you target for earmuffs.
Oh, good lord.
Yes, that is
And
such
it's,
a great
quote,
story.
a good one.
Yeah. I should probably add that to the notes before we post it.
Digress. We'll
Uh,
include it in the notes so you can...
But
But
yeah,
anyway.
Once you get to a certain amount of gummy fish offerings in this bowl, a giant serpent called the kos'karii from Klingon legend would appear, crashing itself out of the lake, and you and everyone nearby that was fishing now has to defeat this strong giant serpent that may swing you into the next century. After defeating him, if there's enough time left, you may collect more fish to summon another one and do it all over again. Moving on to the next little event is the competitive race. This one's simple. There's a small walkway up to a tall spot in the Winter Wonderland. I believe it's on the far west side of the map. Basically, you and other players will form a line on top of the hill and basically run down this very closed-in, narrow racetrack, more or less. And with all the sliding and slippery mess down there, including all the sharp rocks in the way, you and these other players will be battling for Epohh Tags, which you'll be able to turn into Winter Epohs, basically. Next, you would get the Cones of Conduct. A giant snowman is attacking the Gingerbread village nearby. That's more to the north end. Basically, what you have to do here, just go to the nearby village and collect the shaved ice as well as candies around, melt them down, and put it into one of 2 little that would sooner or later start spawning a Konian? Yes, it's very funny. They've made a Konian into a giant snow monster that's actually helped there to protect the village from all these snowmen. After the Snow Konian spawns, it will start fighting the other giant snow creature, the Snow Overlord, and it will duke it out while you fight off the smaller snowmen, as well as getting more shaved ice and candies for healing the Snow Konian. And that's basically it, besides the Kramp'Ihri, which is covered in Teacher's video. Next week I will most likely be covering the other winter weapons, not counting the nanopulse weapons and such like that, and tell you which one would be good for what situation. What you think?
Seems like a pretty good thing.
Looks like the ice fishing is going on right now.
In fact, I see one of the...
Got the kos'karii all the way off in the distance.
I got DC'd, I logged in and changed instance to be in the same instance as you guys, and it spawned me into the tower of the ice fishing.
I can see you from here!
Wow.
Hello over there!
I was about to say, did it punt you up there?
Hello! It spawned me in up here. Hello, I'm with the evil snowman, help me! No.
I think it was
Taking
actually
me prisoner.
our good friend Paladina. He actually got punted up there earlier today by the snake.
Yes, he did. I managed to get in here all on my own on occasion.
But
Hello, the evil snowmen have taken me hostage. Help, help. Enough
anyways, anyway, that's pretty much what we've got for a show this evening. I will make sure Artie adds that to the notes for you guys, because that is something I'm sure some of you will get a kick out of, because you'll get to see how screwed up our brains can be. But anyways, a shout out to our good friends over at Temporal Armada. Very good, chill bunch of folks. Definitely enjoy their radio program. Also, a shout out to our other good friends over at the Kurtang Pirate Radio. Another awesome radio show. Both of those shows I would recommend. They do pretty good with their stuff and everything. But if you've got any budget builds you'd like to see us do, please let us know. You know, tell us what kind of ship you're looking for, what kind of build you're looking for. Do you want to go tank? Do you want to go DPS? Do you want to be a space wizard? Do you want to be a support? Whatever you're looking for, we'll help you out with it. Let us know your budget. That way, we don't give you a high-end build when all you have is bare bones, which wouldn't really help you much. But any budget level, any ship, we'll see if we can't help you out and get a build for you. Also, if you'd like help with your piloting, you feel your gear is where it needs to be, but you think if you could just get a little bit extra or time your stuff a little bit better, that you might be able to squeak out some extra damage. Submit a brief little video clip to us. Let us see kind of where you're at with your piloting, and we'll help you from there. But if you've got any bugs, feel free to let one of these screwballs know. They'll be sure to pass it on to me. I'll be sure to pass it on to the developers, Ambassador Kale, and all of the crew at Cryptic, Bordicus, and SARoss, and all of them. They don't like bugs any more than you or I do, and they are good about fixing things, even if it may take them longer than they would like. But yeah, that's about it for this evening. I don't think I missed anything too much, did I?
Nope, I think that's it.
Alrighty then. But anyways, folks, thanks for joining us this week. Everything, without you guys out there, we would not have a show. For now, folks, this is the Pilot Review Show, and you're warping out of here.
See ya.
Have fun.